What do we have here? Well, today we're going to do a pretty decent reduction for a variety of reasons that we'll get into on the sweet gum tree, also known as liquid amber. That's the Latin name. So Justin, why are we pruning this spiky gumball tree? Well, because they're not very strong, and this one already has some problems, so we're going to try to keep it from falling apart and one day smashing this deck and house or fence. Let me show you what we got. We recently had an ice storm here in Middle Tennessee, and as you can see, there's a lot of broken and damaged limbs. Sweet gum trees are not, known to be rot resistant, very resilient trees in general. So all of these large breaks, if we can correct them without maiming the tree, will be beneficial long term. Even if it's not necessarily a great cut, a bad cut farther away from the trunk is better than, in this particular instance with this variety of tree, probably better than a larger good cut along the trunk. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to do a reduction, height reduction. I used to have a couple of GoPros, and I just really haven't kept up with it. So if my finger will stop making it blur out. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to try to properly, not top it, but do a retrenchment and reduction prune to get it down to maybe about this level where the tip of my finger is. If we can manage. We'll have to see what it looks like when we get up there. Sometimes things change. This is a great example of why things can change 100 foot in the air. So, I've got a rot pocket down there, maybe a little hard to tell. See it better on that side. So I'm at a bit of a conundrum because I originally wanted to remove this entire, maybe this entire stem here, this entire large lateral. Thank you. But if I'm going to reduce this by removing that lead, it only leaves this entire scaffolding limb with literally 2 limbs. All the way down, 4 limbs total, down to the next, major union. They're included anyway, so highly probable that it fails at some point in time regardless. And aside from just completely butchering this tree, knocking the whole top of it out, puts us in a bit of a predicament. So what I think I find myself having to do now in this situation is I'll just take this limb here, leaving the smaller one, much less susceptible to failure, and then I'll remove that long lateral on the end here. And we'll leave the other 4 or 5 branches that it has left because that should be enough to sustain it. And that's how things can change on the fly if you're not just like cutting on a line somewhere. You've got to take each tree's circumstances into account. And on this particular tree, that's what we find. I've already had to remove some damaged limbs. I didn't take the entire limb off though, because at that point, if we was to cut every broken branch off entirely, every damaged branch off entirely, we get to a point quickly where you may as well just remove the entire tree. And the whole goal here is to try to save it. So what we're trying to do is extend the life of this tree. Now this one's gone. We got a pretty decent reduction here. We have a decent sized lateral that's coming off of it. And we probably took, probably 400 or so pounds off if I had to guess, just based on the size of that limb and the length, maybe 300 on the low side. But full of water. So anyways, now we've reduced the height, we've reduced the sail here, we've reduced the weight, which puts less stress on that union down there. Same thing, pick the biggest, tallest, most weighted limb without reducing probable life expectancy by doing so. Good, roughly 7-inch plus diameter limb here, slightly bigger than my hand. Probably about, I don't know, maybe 20 or so foot long. We left the smaller, shorter one behind. Gave it a decent reduction down. took some weight off, less susceptible to fail at that included union there. Here we took one off there that was broken and damaged. We'll stop there, probably go over there and grab that. And then all that's really left that we can really do is, in my opinion, maybe reduce this down here. We've got 2 limbs of fork here, a crotch. We'll probably take this big one in the center. It's the tallest there. It'll take a lot of weight off, reduce the likelihood of failure down below, take a lot of it over leveraging off of that limb, and then we'll probably do a little bit here as well, if we can find a decent reduction point. All right, so what we wound up doing is those 2 big limbs that were over here on the far side of this large scaffolding limb, we just went ahead and took it out. It's good 7, maybe 7 by 9, 7 by 8 inch diameter limb here, probably a good 40 or so foot long, and that took a tremendous amount of weight and leverage off of that included unit. And now it's just pulling out what's left of these broken hangers in the tree. We'll climb down and show you what it looks like and why we did it this way. So now we finished our reduction prune. We're more of a retrenchment prune, really. We did some minor reduction on some of these lower limbs on the end and some of the ones up there, but this is more of like a heavy retrenchment and more aggressive in weight reduction to reduce the chance of failure at these included unions, and then fix some of the failures where it already broke in the wind and ice prior. So come springtime, she should fill right in, start growing some new advantageous growth, some new branch growth, and I don't know, probably make it another 25-30 years all day long.